Saturday continues, and we've already just seen Hungry for More defeat Paradigm. Not only that, we now get to watch Dignitas versus Hungry for More, and that one then is a bit more of an interesting conversation.
Now, I think both these two teams kind of sitting in the middle right now. Dignitas really started on fire this SPL season, and then since they've kind of faded away, they've lost 7 of their last 9. Now, to be fair, 4 of those were against Panthera, so there's kind of that asterisk there where it's like,
but the games against Panthera
doesn't really count.
The games against Panthera, they didn't look bad. They had good positives in those games. They found first blood a couple of times, good invasions early on, traded out evenly until Panthera, you know, flicked that switch.
It just just a few small mistakes from Dignitas in their last set, specifically against Panthera just the other day. Just that's the thing, you can't make a single mistake against Panthera. Now against these two, against every other squad, you can make some mistakes and still recover, and I think that's what Dignitas is looking to do. Even if they like mess up a little bit here, it's still hungry for more. They're not going to be able to take full advantage of it. Now, Hungry for More, they've been on fire lately, and they bring in Frezzy, now known as MANALIKE, and I wouldn't say he had the best game, but the team seems more confident, really.
More confident is the real talking point there between the two, but these two teams never faced off against each other. Let's go into picks and bans and see how game 1 will begin.
Jeffrey on top of him and the chase down. ShadowNightmare finds the kill!
Absolutely brilliant.
There's the Athena ult. Real's ult should help secure this unless Athena actually... The ult lands just in time for Suntouch to intercept.
Go Fury, Reds is here, let's watch him. Dignitas get them gone! Fury up that engagement! 6 and 8 versus 5 and 9. 5 and 9 is hungry for more right now. If they can win here, that will bring them to 7 and 9. And Dignitas, well, if they can go to even 8 and 8 by getting a 2-0 here. But let's be honest, I personally feel Dig favor you, however, on a different side, right?
I think it go either way. I think this is Dig might be a little bit demoralized. Now, the last 4 matches they've played and lost were against Panthera, and that's something where it's like, okay, we lost to the best team in the world.
Yeah.
We just need to get that out of our mind and come in looking fresh. But Hungry for More, they're looking so confident. Specifically for me, Twig.
I mean, Twig did look very strong in the game, and coming off the back of beating the team that went to the World Championships as the #1 seed in Paradigm there. Big talking point for Hungry for More, especially when they were sat towards the bottom of the SPL coming in to week 6.
Bans are finished. Baka not going to be available for Dignitas. Hungry for More also ban out Thor. On the other side, it's Dignitas taking out Kepri and Apollo. Hungry for More here. They have a couple options, and they're going to go Chiron first pick. Okay.
So Chiron's a bit of a surprise since we saw multiple changes to him, especially his healing from his passive as
the ult as well
as the ultimate, you know, having a reduced movement speed on it. Chiron's been a little bit lackluster, and the only time we've really seen it, I believe it was yesterday in Europe. We did see it in mid lane.
North America, the Boosh played it as well. There is Panthera has been known to run it as well under Yaman. So I'll be interested to know, is this going to PrettyPriMe, because he's been he hasn't done it too much in the SPL, but in ranked and formerly, he has put a lot of hunters into the mid lane.
Well, Dignitas has definitely been watching those games against Paradigm because they take Sobek early on in this draft to take it away from MANALIKE. He had a pretty good impact on it last game, not going to have that option this time, so where will we see him go to?
Janus as well locked in a very comfort pick, I'd say, coming out for ShadowNightmare specifically. Now, this could be the Awelish Sobek combo, and Hungry for More might have just shot themselves in the foot by picking up Batz. Awelish, a very good counter to that god here, and if that is the composition that Dignitas is going for, the Batz pick is just like, okay, we were already going to go it, now it's even better.
Well, we'll see if FrostiaK doesn't end up going that one, but it's going to be an Ares for MANALIKE. MANALIKE, very well known for aggressive support play, initiation, looking for fights. Ares, a prime example. Sobek, his Ymir was one touted a long time ago, back on his mortality days, of being very aggressive, looking to make plays.
This is the basketball comp that Dignitas likes to run. It's the alley-oop, right? You have Sobek fling someone in to the portal coming out from Janus, and then Fenrir picks up coming out of that, and it's just a ton of just very lined up damage that puts players out of position.
And there's a Zeus ban as well, focused at Prettyprime, who did play it in the set against Paradigm. Kronos taken off the table as well. Hungry for More with 1 ban before it goes to Dignitas, who'll probably look for their Hunter next. Ho-Yi is available at the moment, and they're going to choose Rama here, Hungry for More, to take out.
Dig have a couple options here if they do want to go the Hunter and save their solo lane
Probably
pickup.
Sol for Rens, I want to say here, would be the most likely pick. We've seen Rens go for that god more often than not. That's why the Rama bans come out against him.
Also pretty good against Ares specifically. You can disapparate outside of Ares' ultimate if that's what he wants. I would imagine he's going to be looking for something with some form of CC immunity against Ares specifically. Same with Hunbat, something that he can reactionary ult to. Guan, you going to be locked in, and that means probably going to the solo lane?
Yeah, with Raijin being locked in once again for PrettyPriMe in the mid lane. Probably the most dominant mid laner in Europe on that Raijin so far this season that we've seen. And I'm surprised that we saw Dignitas hold their Hunter for last pick here.
Chaac going to be locked in for variety here. So taking a little bit of Azalea in him here. And Ren's looking for his pick. And Ren's has really been struggling for Dignitas all season. We've seen very few good games. Maybe the one set where he was able to steal away those gold tiers, but I'm pretty sure they lost it anyway. And it is going to be a CC immune ult coming out, and it's Anhur.
It is Anhur for him as well. And yeah, like you said, regular season last split, he had a few struggles, didn't really go off, but a lot of people were talking about how good he was. Super Regionals, different story for Rens. He stepped up, had a fantastic performance. However, going back into the regular season, it seems like it's business for usual, but not in a good way.
I wonder if he's just a Lanimal, right? Someone who's just going to overperform at LAN or perform to maybe the standard he knows he can play at, and then he kind of just struggles online.
There's a few people who are like that. Ninja Boba is another one from Torpedo who's done that in the past. Dignitas, though, versus Hungry for More. Let's get into game.
Looking for first blood is hungry for more, and it's enough to take out Carino. PrettyPriMe with the 1-2 punch.
No, he's dead.
Teleport.
He's 100% dead. Unless he can, like, one-shot Shaggy.
Fantastic play by Variety, forcing the issue.
All right, so he wasn't actually dead there in that clip, to be fair. I might have mistakes were made by Shaggy. Mistakes were made by Shaggy. Variety though, gonna be on this Chaac. I don't think we've seen him yet on this season. The only player specifically that's playing Chaac regularly is Azalea. He just matched up against him earlier today, so we'll have to see how Variety performs on it.
Well, Chaac's getting himself into a position where we will see more and more of him. Remember, there is a new patch coming, and Chaac gets even more buffs in that one in terms of the ultimate, as well as the rain dance going to be even bigger of a slow. But the big focus with Chaac, lane bully, right? Lane dominant bully early on, rather than a similar sort of situation with him. And I think that's what he'll be looking to do in the early game.
A lot of fast clear, right? He has 2 AoE abilities that can hit the entire wave at level 2. So that's what we saw Azalea do specifically. Just kind of walk in, guarantees him to get those fire elementals as well, hit 3 very early, and then just kind of force himself to take advantage of the lane and then rotate out. CaptainTwig on this Hunbats, though, I in that first game, that was not the CaptainTwig I've ever seen. When he jumped onto Cubo, Fred, and Lobster in between the Tier 1 and Tier 2 tower at level 3, I was like, I've never seen Twig do that.
It was very aggressive, but it made it work that time round. I think we've seen aggression out of him like that, but it's just not come to fruition, whether it's the team not backing him up or him just not doing it at the correct times. Didn't pay off, but now, against Dignitas, we'll see if he can do the same sort of thing. Right, you're going to be given his blue buff here at the beginning of this game. And honestly, when I look through the lineup, I'm surprised we don't see any power potions out of the junglers or the mid laners here. Both gone for the Soul Stone. Very safe standard start here, so a bit of respect from both these teams.
It's that risk versus reward either. Neither team kind of has a clear, like, dominant 2v2 in this mid-jungle combination that they really want to risk going a power pod and it not going their way. A lot of times you'll see that in kind of the situations where you already know you have the winning 2v2. You pick up the power pods to guarantee it, allowing yourself to steal away extra farm and dominate that early mid pressure.
Mid Harpies are split. Nice poke onto CaptainTwig early, but that's going to lack wave clear now for the boys of Dignitas, which gives Hungry for More a little bit of an opportunity, but Twig stays around a little bit too long, as does his opposition FrostiaK, who went in for the kill, and now Prime may get punished, but luckily he's got minions on his side.
FrostiaK there getting very aggressive. If that jump had connected originally before he used that Brutalize, CaptainTwig could have got first blooded, but a good job from PrettyPriMe. He doesn't just run away, he actually tries to counter-initiate on FrostiaK, knowing that he has those archers to back him up, which means even though Twig was poked out, so was FrostiaK, and Twig still has potions.
Luckily enough though, Twig went back to base there and comes back with full health, full mana, didn't lose anything in the wave because they'd already cleared it. So mid lane still pretty even. Right hand side you'll see Variety dominating with the Chaac, and left hand side Anhur and Sobek are the ones in control of the lane, as you'd expect in the early game.
This This is just kind of Ares where if he gets lane advantage, he can really dominate it because he can group up the minions, going to allow Ataraxia to help clear. But when you're up against a Sobek, it's very hard because you step one spot out of position and Suntouch is going to pluck you. And then Rins on this Anhur, he has built-in pin into his kit. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage early. It's simply not worth the risk. Instead, farm out, wait for the kind of this mid game where you're going to start rotating.
And that's fine. You want Ares to hit 5 first of all, and then really look to make the plays against an aggressive lineup like this. Invasion, so it's not an invasion, it's just a back hop he's going to be taken here, but left-hand side.
You saw the pings come out, and it really looks like Dignitas want to force the boars. Unfortunately, though, FrostiaK and ShadowNightmare were actually splitting the back camps, which means they weren't in position. They weren't aware where PrettyPriMe or CaptainTwig was, so they didn't want to risk getting kind of collapsed on.
Now in solo lane, Variety so far in this lane has pushed it, taken the imps, got and pushed it again, now taken the boar on that right-hand side, and the imps are about to spawn again, so Variety's starting to develop a nice small lead over Dodo every single wave.
These games are pretty critical here as CaptainTwig steals away back harpies. He'll be fine, though. These games are very critical because both these teams are kind of sitting in the middle of the pack, right? Hungry for More at 5-9, Dignitas at 6 and 8 right now. If either of these teams can find a 2-0 win, they're going to close the gap onto Cringe Crew and onto Paradigm. Paradigm dropping 2 games against Hungry for More leaves kind of the field wide open because if Hungry for More can beat the squad, everyone else should at least be able to be competitive in their matches. And if they start dropping some other games and Cringe Crew maybe drop some games as well, DreamHack could go anywhere.
Twig's going around looking for some pressure onto Dodo, and it's actually a rotation from Prime in support. He's got himself in an awkward position, and he's going to Thunder Crash away, but not very far. Fenrir Weevil comes up, and a great Ragnarok from FrostiaK in response to avoid that and pick up the kill.
Really nicely played by both squads there. PrettyPriMe stepping a little bit out of position. Dignitas try and abuse that. And the Ragnarok, recognizing that the Fear No Evil's coming out, closes the gap. PrettyPriMe wastes his ult as well, thinking that he's going to be saved there by CaptainTwig's ultimate. Tries to get damage off. It's not enough, and first blood goes to Dignitas, and a very just well-calculated gank.
And now because of that, Dignitas will get the right and Harpies left ones. However, Hungry for More have rotated Ataraxia over from the duo lane with MANALIKE to pick these up, and they should be able to take those down before Dignitas show their faces. I think it'll be okay. There's no blink. Oh no, maybe he is because the rotation from Renja, all right.
Looks like a counter engage coming out from MANALIKE. Nothing for Suntouch can do. And actually, MANALIKE might get turned on here. It's going to be the Brutalized. Rins finishes him off. And now CaptainTwig impaled backwards. And it's going to be another kill for Dig.
As an early game support that gets decimated, supports nowadays take a little bit longer to get online and get that tankiness up for themselves. Especially, you know, at the start of the game, you land the ultimate, but if there's no backup from your team in time, you'll get punished. And that's what happens.
And MANALIKE there actually ends up going Shoes of the Magi. I'm not sure if he had backed already. I don't think he had, so still looking to be aggressive. Wants that extra penetration of magical power so the Ares can be this kind of aggressive bully.
Yeah, it looked like everything was going pretty well for Dignitas at the start. This one is continuing to do so. Hungry for More off okay here as Variety seems to be much more in control of this lane. I should expect for Chaac versus Guan early.
And Guan, he's really about team fights, right? It's very rare to see a Guan actually find a kill in the lane. Every once in a while it happens. We do have an attempted gank here as CaptainTwig's made his way over in Variety. They're going to give it up. There's a little bit of farm on that right-hand side. The two will back off, get their blue buff. The boar as well. PrettyPriMe going to come and share in the XP.
So let's check the experience in gold lead at the moment. It isn't Dignitas in favor because of first blood.
Not by much.
Just under 1,000 in favor of Dignitas as well. But it's a good start.
And Hungry for More, actually, even after they got first blooded, we're only down about 200 to 300 gold, which means they've been farming pretty efficiently here. CaptainTwig in a little bit of trouble. Jump's going to miss. FrostiaK not in range to follow up, though.
Very lucky because the portal and the jump went off at the same time, so no stun. The CC chain was a little bit off the mark, bit of miscommunication there. Otherwise, they may have been able to find a kill.
And look at this. Suntouch has honestly been the man to set up both kills here. Pinching both PrettyPriMe and MANALIKE. Both times they've kind of rotated underneath these mid-harpies. He's going to close the gap on MANALIKE once again, but he'll be fine here.
3 chains in a row.
He'll be fine.
Nice little wave coming out from MANALIKE, but the rotation from Rent will make him back away now as well. Both the Hunter is going to return to that lane, and not really spoken too much about this, but we did see Ataraxia start with the throwing dagger here on the Chiron. Not gone for the Transcendence, which was the standard build on him, but I guess the lane dominance with, you know, his damage can be helpful.
It's very important, right? Transcendence honestly is very good on Chiron. We saw Boosh build it in the mid lane, but right now, making sure you don't get full bullied in dual lane might be the most important thing, because we actually saw that happen to iRens just yesterday when he faced off against Panther. He goes the Transcendence onto the Medusa, and it wasn't so much that, you know, he was lacking in damage. It was the fact that Emilito was able to full control the lane, steal away his boars, and he was also on Apollo, which means while Rens was stuck under tower, the Apollo could make this impact in a fight and allowed Panthera to fight on a man advantage, and that's really why you see Throwing Dagger more than anything.
Well, Twig was swinging around looking for the right Harpies there, but with so many members of Dignitas in the area, he's given them up. Left-hand side, though, Hungry for More in a position to do. Ataraxia with a rotation once more to pick these up. These will be 4-man split by the side of Hungry for More, but at least it goes their way.
And Dignitas, they want to get aggressive. They're trying to find CaptainTwig rotating back into the mid lane, but he's not going to fall for it here. He is on top of a ward, and Dignitas being very aggressive with these positionings as well. And you can see anytime they want to fight, Rens will actually rotate into the jungle, right? Even if nothing happens, because he has this lane dominance, he can just make moves. If something happens, he's there. If nothing happens, he goes back to lane, doesn't miss a single minion.
And that's a big key as well. Anhur, very good in the jungle. Early game pressure with the pillar, be able to displace people, also impale it into the walls. A lot easier to connect and secure that stun as we tune him with Suntouch, who just cleared a ward. He's hanging around here to try and keep some pressure on and show some face towards the mid lane. He needs to soak some experience, continue farming up.
Twig counters it immediately, though, so Suntouch going to lose 150 gold there as Twig recoups 50 gold that he lost. And pretty slow-paced game ever since. I think Hungry for More wanted to force some of these mid-fights with the Ares ultimate as well as the Fear No Evil coming out from Batz, but because two players got picked off early on, it's much harder for them, or they're a little bit timid to kind of force these engagements, and Suntouch's presence has been massive so far as well.
Do you expect to see any pressure onto Variety in the solo lane here? Because with the Janus rotations being available, they could look for the through space and time and fire off at him, because he's been very pushed up for the most of this game.
I think if it was earlier on, maybe, but coming into the 8 to 10 minute mark, reaching into, you know, the transition into the mid game, right? Gold Fury's going to get blown up, and it's not worth the risk in a lot of these situations. And, right, PrettyPriMe on this Raijin, he has a pretty high damaging ultimate, which means Hungry for More should be able to shred it.
Yeah, when you actually look at Gold Fury control, it's semi-even between the two. When we get through space and time from ShadowNightmare, but the rest of it really all goes in Hungry for More's way. But it is Dignitas to start up the Gold Fury here early on with the help of Anhur.
MANALIKE
knows, going to get hit by a Ragnarok. No, he won't, because no escape is on. Frosty going to purify. They're looking to burst this down in time, and they will. The drums of war come out there from PrettyPriMe, but they're not going to find a pick.
Really nice timing coming out from Dignitas, and a great job by FrostiaK specifically. Jumps immediately onto MANALIKE because MANALIKE has the blink. Speaking of blink, he's actually going to catch ShadowNightmare. Purification forced to stop that cripple, and ShadowNightmare barely escapes, but he should be pressured out of this mid lane as Hungry for More grouping up for it.
Well, they're going to put some pressure on mid, but there's not much else for them to really take here. The jungle's currently down on the right-hand side for them to look to invade, and realistically, ShadowNightmare should be quite happy over there now because he can just go back. He used Purification, but he's not going to lose Gold Fury, so he can just play safe for a while.
I mean, this is fine for ShadowNightmare. He also has a CC immune ultimate. He has no CDR in his kit right now, but I imagine he's going to be going into this Chronos Pendant, so anytime he has his ultimate up, I expect to see him burn that instead of the Purification sooner than later.
Right on the money. Chronos Pendant does come out there for ShadowNightmare. He's got the red buff alongside that as well, so cooldown reduction and the penetration boots to match. Meanwhile, PrettyPriMe going for the Legion Helm, which we've seen a lot more in the mid lane, as Right Harpies this time looking towards Hungry for More. Suntouch is here and recognizes his boys are not with him, so he's not going to contest.
MANALIKE, no ultimate either, so I don't think Hungry for More wanted to force a fight onto the Sobek. And we have Suntouch actually building another Urchin, and I love this. I really like the item Urchin. Obviously, it's very effective, but especially in Europe where games are going a little bit slow, actually. Not so slow right now.
Healing himself a little bit. They're going to get hit by the Fear No Evil, but Prime gets out of the danger. ShadowNightmare's fine at the moment. Pull open by ShadowNightmare, but that's on cooldown now. He will get one kill as the Ragnarok is used by FrostiaK, needed at the moment. Variety is in amongst the pigeons here, trying to get some damage off, but he's not going to be able to do too much. But guess who else is here? Dodo.
And he's going to stun out Ataraxia left-hand side. MANALIKE, is he going to get the ultimate off? He is, and he is able to secure a kill onto ShadowNightmare, but his team's getting turned on. 3v1 right now. Variety nowhere to go, and a beautiful pillar stunned by Rens finds a kill. Ataraxia finds a return onto Suntouch, but overall, a 3-for-2 in favor of Dignitas.
Rens' rotation really made an impact in that fight. Got there in an important time, picks up a double kill. And this one thing where we're saying Rens doesn't seem to have been performing in the SPL so far this season. This game, however, different story.
3-0-0 right now. Rens is on fire with his rotations. First gets the helping pick-off when they took out MANALIKE, not for the first blood, but for the second kill in the game. And ever since then, he's just been in the fights before Ataraxia. Now, FrostiaK almost fell there as well, and it would have been a 3-for-3, but Dodo's rotation actually not only gets the heal, but the meditation as well just before Ataraxia lands the auto attack that would have killed Fenrir.
So in less than 12 minutes, we've seen a Gold Fury as well as a whole 5v5 team fight, and still Dignitas currently in control of this game for now, especially with the Gold Fury is the big important factor in the team fight. Well, it went their way, but it wasn't as much because not much came out of it.
This isn't too massive of a lead, though. It's about a little over 2,000 right now at 12 minutes. I think the next Gold Fury is going to be the most telling thing because the experience as well, pretty close. Only about a level difference between most players. Nothing really more than that. So Hungry for More, they're still in this right now. The worrying thing, honestly, is the next engagement, the impact that iRens might have because he has a 600 gold lead over Ataraxia. And if he can finish his next item before Ataraxia can and a fight breaks out, that's huge.
Well, that last fight as well, when you saw what ShadowNightmare did, wasn't scared to go through the portal and do damage to the front line.
Oh, no.
Got a kill, but that was very risky, especially with his purification.
I was about to say that as well.
I'm surprised he didn't get punished.
I think he had Sanctuary up. He did fall in the end, though, because he did take a lot of damage in the front line, but more importantly, he set up for the rest of his team to kind of follow through and guarantee the kills. They're able to steal a couple camps away as well. It wasn't a massive gain for Dignitas, but still, it was a lot of pressure.
Block coming out. Purification was very late coming out from Twig, but luckily it held off enough for the jump to not connect the stun from FrostiaK. It did force Fear No Evil now, and that was just Dignitas abusing the fact that they saw MANALIKE over in the dual lane farming, so they knew they had a 3v2 advantage in mid.
That's fine, though, for Hungry for More, honestly, because FrostiaK also burned his Purification. He got Fear No Evil, and I think it was that he wanted to follow up on the kill, but unfortunately Twig made it to tower before he could. He was definitely looking for that Brutalize or Ragnarok as soon as he could.
Again, though, you mentioned Suntouch. He's been involved in every single one of those kills, and you saw the pluck that he just made there. Looking for the initiations. He's working out very well on this Sobek so far.
Mid camps could get spicy here, but MANALIKE gets tagged, so no blink initiation for him if that's what he's looking for. Has the Sovereignty finish, which means ShadowNightmare should be doing a fair amount of damage to him as he's gone into that physical protection instead. But also, if he gets caught in lurking through the waters, actually...
Block. But is there any follow-up damage is the question. The knock-up hits, which forces Purification out of PrettyPriMe. Suntouch comes up with a nice little win there.
Honestly, Suntouch could have got turned on there, but I think Hungry for More were a little bit scared about forcing a fight with Gold Fury turning up so soon. Sanctuary is forced out by Ataraxia, and now he's plucked 4 iRens to finish him off. 4 kills the way of the Hunter.
Ren set that up beautifully. That pillar stopped the charge away.
MANALIKE.
Now MANALIKE in trouble. Looking to return damage onto Suntouch. No escape comes out. Reinforcements are here. No Fear, no evil available right now, though. Suntouch credited for the kill on MANALIKE. Ren's going to try and zone away CaptainTwig, who jumps over and secures the kill on Suntouch. Fight still going on. The damage from Prime is good, however.
Soul Enter's rotated. There's Fear No Evil. Going to force 3 members off, but Ren still gets the last auto attack at Dignitas. They've already wiped out 3. They're looking for the last 2. Target and focus right now is on a PrettyPriMe. He's stunned under tower. Ren's looking for a couple more auto attacks, and there he goes. His 5th kill of the match. Turns his attention to Variety. Nowhere to go. This should be an unofficial triple for him if he can find it. There it is. iRens turning up big here against Hungry for More.
7-0-1. He got 4 kills in that engagement, I believe.
4. An unofficial quadra coming out for Rens. It's going to be a Gold Fury as well for Dignitas. And this is a Rens we haven't seen all season. Where has this been?
Super Regionals was the first time we were like, hey, this kid is good. He's looking great. If he can transition this into the Pro League next season, Dignitas are looking amazing. This is the very first game in, how many games is it? 14 so far? Where I've been like, yo, Rens is on fire.
And his positioning in that fight as well, he took almost no damage. Now he has a 3-level lead over Ataraxia and an item.
And now in mid lane, MANALIKE cut out of position. I don't know where he was or what he was doing that far forward on his own.
I'm not exactly sure either. No one, I think it was trying to group the minions so they wouldn't go into tower to save it for the rest of his team. But Dignitas had a ward right on top of him, and the team just collapsed. And now Dignitas right now up 11-3. Now, Dignitas is a team that has been thrashed the past few weeks, right? They've only won 2 out of their last 9 games. Now, forward to Panthera. I have to say it every time I say this, to be fair, but they haven't always looked the best. And Hungry for More have been the opposite. They've been the team on fire, taking out 2 wins against Paradigm just recently, and right now they're getting decimated.
Getting decimated, it's a strong word to use, but Dignitas, by the graphs, you can see that only 15 minutes in, it's 5,000 gold, just 9,000 experience as well. I'm loving the look of Dignitas today, though. They're finding the opportunities. The whole team is turning up as well, which is an important factor because through the season, I keep mentioning Rens,
yes,
but he was the one member of the team that didn't really show for me at the start of the season. Now he is, and the rest of the team is still on the same page.
And now 16 minutes in, Dignitas, they've got this massive lead here. The question is, are they going to continue to abuse it? Because they have been their aggressor for the most part, and I would like to see them kind of keep up that pace here, maybe look for some pickoffs. And look at this, Ataraxia is so scared right now. He's actually in between his two towers because he's not exactly sure where all the Dignitas members are.
Well, the Chiron pick as well, that was the call, right? They first picked Chiron with a game plan in mind, something to do with Chiron being strong or useful in certain situations, but it doesn't seem to have worked so far this game.
I thought potentially it could have gone over to PrettyPriMe because that's where we've seen him most honestly this season, ever since the nerfs. He's just kind of been this mid lane bully who can control the early game and has a lot of denial with his first ability kind of at mid camps, but that's not the case. And now Hungry for More, gonna get a little bit of aggressive. MANALIKE uses his blink but can't connect the chains onto FrostiaK.
When you think about the tier list in terms of like hunters and what we've seen mostly played, we've seen Sol, we've seen Kronos.
Oh, yes.
Sol was available, Kronos was banned out. We did see Apollo was banned as well.
Was Hou Yi banned?
Hou Yi was available the whole time, and we went for the Chiron. That's what the interesting talking point for me is, why was it Chiron?
It's something. Maybe
It's not-
maybe if Hungry for More can come out with this win, the game's not over.
I mean,
right?
yeah, Ataraxia's rotations have been on point. They've been a good rotations for the most part, but I've seen when he got to those mid-hoppies multiple times, we see the invade coming out here from Dignitas. But it's not like Chiron's the be-all and end-all of this. It's just an interesting talking point of like, why was it him? It's not like iRens has like been beating up Ataraxia all the game.
Honestly, this dual lane from Dignitas has been massive here, as Suntouch looking for a pluck on Ataraxia around the wall.
iRens is level 19 at less than 18 minutes
Whoa.
in the game already.
Does he know he's a hunter?
I don't know. I've got no clue.
A lot of times you're seeing soul laners right at the 20-minute mark or the level 20 around here, but it's Rens instead, almost level 20. He needs a couple more creeps maybe, and DarkDodo's a level behind. MANALIKE picked off as well. Nowhere to go, and this is just Ares who's behind.
Story of Ares, isn't it? When you get behind, it's
brutal.
very difficult to get into it. And when, to be fair, take into account, some of these players know Frezzy as well, or MANALIKE as he's now known. They've played with him multiple times. They know his aggressive playstyle, and they can punish him for it. Talk about punishment. They're trying to catch CaptainTwig here, who uses everything to stay alive, but he will go down. Even PrettyPrime's ultimate comes out to try and help him, but that won't stop the Dignitas push.
And now they're just going to back out of here, take the tier 1 tower as well after their 2 pickoffs. And Hungry for More, they're just kind of falling apart. Suntouch wants a pluck. He's popped, Sprint gonna miss, but still, that's a lot of attention onto him right now, and Variety's surging forward by himself. Ataraxia forced out behind his tower, forced to use Sanctuary as well, and Variety just trying to zone everyone off, but the tower's already dead.
Tower's down as Suntouch lurking in the walls, pushes forward. Ren's on the front line going to get great in play to MANALIKE. There is a 9-level difference between that support and Hunter, but now they're collapsing onto Ren's, who's a little bit far forward. Teleport coming in too. They really want Ren's here. Axe over the wall from Variety, trying to give chase. No rain dance to slow him down just yet. It's a good tail whip appeal from Suntouch comes out.
Dodo's here as well, though. Blink over the wall by MANALIKE, and he's just going to get turned on. What is he doing? Suntouch takes him out, and now with DarkDodo here, the heals are going to start raining through. Ataraxia fires his ultimate, trying to lock down Ren's, but he's caught out of position himself as FrostiaK picks him up.
So that was Hungry for More, trying to turn it around, bring down the deadly iRens, who was 7-0-1 there. If they could have found that pick, they would have got a big goal boost for the team, and I think that's why we saw MANALIKE go in with a blink, but the follow-up just wasn't there.
I mean, MANALIKE is not worth any gold or experience right now because he's died so often. He's so far behind, but still, he kind of baits the rest of his team to keep the aggression up. Now, there was probably a call,
It was
right?
a call.
I don't know who made the call, but he blinks in. The problem is that DarkDodo's here, which means he has conviction, right? And he's got CDR on breastplate, so he's just going to heal everyone up. And then Ataraxia ults iRens, but iRens has his leap up. I'm not sure if that cooldown was called or not, but he's like, you're ulting, I'm just going to jump away. What are you doing?
Well, another Gold Fury going to go the way of Dignitas here. Nobody here to defend from Hungry for More. And mentioned about DarkDodo on that Guan Yu. Not died in this lane, been involved in 10 of the 15 kills so far. And like you said, now the team fights have started to hit pace. The sustain is going to come into account. What he can bring to the team with the meditation, with the conviction.
This is really dangerous because a lot of times, right, soul laners will have a lead, but to have this much of a lead 20 minutes in, not just individually, but as a unit, right, as Dignitas being, what is this right now, about 10,000, 10, 11,000, how are you going to kill anyone as long as DarkDodo is stuck to the team and is healing them on cooldown?
And the only thing they've got for trying to get rid of
Rens.
Twig is just evaporated one more time. Desert Fury comes out, Fear No Evil 2 in defense, but Rens will get another kill with a very good impale. No escape from MANALIKE, going to pull in Dodo, but I don't think he's going to be too worried because he's got boys in backup.
He has no trouble with this, and in the meantime, I mean, FrostiaK's just tried to pick off Variety. Now Rens could get turned on, but he's fine for now.
Got to get away in the jungle though. Ragnarok is popped at the same time as Variety, realizing
he tried
dead.
to teleport.
Looking in the waters, looking for the teleport. Jumps out, FrostiaK gets the kill, Variety falls, and mentioned Variety, he's the only one with anti-heal on the team. Your support's so far behind, can't even get to building that yet.
And Ataraxia, PrettyPriMe, left to defend this 2v2. ShadowNightmare, no ultimate, so he's not going to be able to close the gap, but this tower should fall. Rin's looking for the last couple hits onto it. And that's going to be another 1,500 golds here for Dignitas, and this is a massive lead.
It feels like night and day between the Hungry for More Paradigm game and the Hungry for More versus Dignitas game so far. It's the same sort of story, but on the other foot, Dignitas in commanding lead here. And once again, ShadowNightmare go for that Bancroft Talent, which he's one of the only ones I've seen. Only Dignitas.
I want to ask him. I want to ask him why he goes that. Now, obviously, it's going to give you a little bit of sustain, but it's such an awkward item, right? Because the lower you get, the more damage it does. However, if you're a mage kind of that low, you're typically going to die anyway in most situations, I'd like to think, and you can't really get your cooldowns off.
Back in the old days, it used to be core, right? It used to be one of the first times you would pick up on pretty much every mage.
That was, you know, Book of Thoth was way more expensive, same with Soul Reaver, right? Chronos Pendant, CDR specifically, wasn't as valued as much in the pro scene as it is now. And now FrostiaK.
Twig in trouble again, almost evaporated by just an unstable vortex through the wall. Through space and time will hit him as well. Luckily enough, he jumps away from the portal that came out, but blue buff goes the way, I believe, of Dignitas there. No, actually, they did manage to defend the blue buff. Did Hungry for More, and it cost him a couple of ults, but Fire Giant has now begun for Dignitas.
I mean, Variety's going to pick up the blue buff, but I don't know if that's going to help him stop this Fire Giant. It's already at 2,000 before Variety can even get to it. He has the Axe, so this could be a time, but no, Dig. Secure FG.
He laughs as he uses his ultimate Variety, but there's not much he can really do now as he's surrounded by
don't turn around, Variety.
Chase onto him and pick up the frontline tank. The other tank on the back is only level 12 right now as the team dunks in. The no escape is used, but it doesn't go off as Rens goes divine.
And Suntouch is going to chase down Prime. Double kill coming out from FrostiaK. Ataraxia, the last man alive to defend this. CaptainTwig at a split push in the mid lane, but I'm F6ing if I'm hungry for more right now.
Well, the Phoenix has already gone down, and maybe Dignitas, with how many people are left alive, are just going to look for the end here. Going to push in with Rens at level 29, 0 and 6. FrostiaK at 5, 0 and 10. Only 2 members of feeders on the side of Dignitas so far, and that was Shadow and Suntouch.
Oh, those two. Feeding away. But
terrible.
Rens coming up massive.
Not just Rens, though. I feel the whole team, but biggest target play is probably Rens because of the fact he's the best performance we've seen out of him. Is the biggest reason. Because
he's been struggling so much, right? I still remember, I think the first set we saw him into Season 3, he played Rom and he was just like rolling into walls and getting picked off. I don't know, like, if it was nerves or what it was,
made a mistake in the bans because they banned Rom.
They banned Rom.
Let him have Rom. He would have hit
let him roll into walls.
Yeah.
They saw what his Anhur can do. It can steal Gold Furies, man. You don't want to risk it.
Probably one of Rens' best go-to gods there. So game 1 goes the way of Dignitas. What do you want to see different game 2 from Hungry for More then? Was picks and bans okay?
It's interesting because a lot of it was just the pressure that Dignitas had. I don't think the picks and bans were bad in any means. It's like they never really got their full combo off because the one time, the early game time that MANALIKE tried to initiate, he actually died before his ult went off. And then ever since then, Dignitas kept snowballing small victory into small victory into small victory until it got a point where once the soul lanes rotated, it was simply the fact that they didn't have enough damage to shred through the heal from Guan Yu.
Well, they definitely...